Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, hi, I'm Kira. This is my son. But anyways, today we're going to be doing a makeup and mystery and we are going to be covering Jim Jones and Jonestown. But I think I'm going to call it I think I might call this episode Jim Jones and Jonestown. I haven't decided yet. So instead of going into the history, really, I want to focus more or less on signs and what had happened. This was a lot like Charles Manson. I mean, this was a cult, and people didn't really think about it at the time. So Jim Jones was a pastor, and his rise to fame was the fact that he really wanted equality for the different races, and at the time, that really wasn't something that had been accepted. So at the beginning, he really wanted to change the world, and that's a great thing because, I mean, we still have the racial segregation to this day with certain people, like racist assholes, honestly. But we still have racial segregation to this day, so it would be awesome if racism was just completely eradicated from the planet one day. But basically, that's what Jim Jones was about. So he started his church, which he called the People's Temple Church, and it was supposed to be a church where he allowed basically everybody to be a part of it, because he said that he wanted to leave his original church that he was a part of because he wanted to invite people of color into his church, but the head pastor or whatever they're called, I don't know, minister, I don't know, didn't want to invite him inviting people of color into his church, and that didn't agree with Jim Jones. Good for him, he did do something good in life, but does that something good really negate everything horrible that you do, is my question. Because I don't think that it does. And I really think that Jim Jones actually had some good intentions when he first started with the People's Church, and wanting to eradicate racial segregation and stuff like that. Like, I think he had really good intentions at first, and then like as the People's Church grew and his power grew and his influence grew, I think that that is really what brought about a downfall to the People's Church. So the People's Church kind of just like continued to expand, and Jim Jones and his wife actually had one biological child and they adopted 3 more. So they had their biological child, and then they had an African-American child that they named Jim Jones Jr., who actually has interviews, which you can check out. I highly recommend it if you're interested in this case, because he gets to talk about, his father, Jim Jones, and how everything that has happened has affected him, which I think is really, really cool to be able to actually hear firsthand. And he had 2 Asian American children, a girl and a boy, which, I mean, I'm trying to think of what to do. You know what, I'm just gonna do something simple. I'm gonna take this shade, because I want to do a 2 looks 1 palette with this today, so. So, Jim Jones eventually continued to expand the People's Temple, and it was kind of like becoming a cult, but it was kind of like before cults kind of were a thing, I guess you could say. So, trying to think about like all the most important stuff. So I've been using the Studio Sculpt SPF 15 foundation from MAC and NW40. Or 30. It's a little dark for me, but I really, really like the finish of it. So I kind of just like make it work because I know I'm only using it on camera. So Kai is still here. He's right there. So just in case you guys were wondering, he is a little tired. It's nap time after this video. But anyways, so there was kind of like an investigation launched into the People's Temple, the People's Church, and Jim Jones, because there were allegations that he basically was very controlling. Like, apparently, like, they had recruited like older members to the People's Templar and to the People's Church. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Oak Island right now, but they had recruited older people to the People's Church, and Jim Jones was able to convince these people to sell their houses, donate the money that they got from their houses to the church, and also their retirement fund that they were getting. Like, you get a social security check every month and a retirement check from whoever you retired from. And he convinced these people to donate that check to the People's Church. And obviously family members who weren't a part of the People's Church didn't like that. But Jim Jones was only giving these older people who earned that money $5 a week to spend. $5. $5 a week. That is literally going to be Kai. That's not even going to be Kai and Jackson's like chore money. I was planning to give them $25 a week, honestly. If they complete, they're going to have one chore a day, and they're going to have to complete their homework, and they're going to have to keep their grades up. But I was planning to do $25 a week if they had good grades and they did their chore that they were assigned every day. So, like, what I was planning to do would be, like, Kai would be assigned dishes one day, and he would have to do the dishes, or maybe Jackson that day would be assigned laundry, or maybe the next day Kai would have to, clean the bathroom, and Jackson would have to clean his room, or something like that, or put the laundry away. Like, basically just something simple, and they're assigned one chore a day. So that's what I was planning to do for my kids. And, like, I was planning to give more money to my children than Jim Jones was giving these people. But anyways, an investigation was kind of about to be launched because a member of the People's Church actually had gone to a reporter and had spilled the beans, to say the least. And what I mean by spilling the beans is this reporter made a headlining news about the People's Church. And when Jim Jones found out about it, he convinced everybody in the People's Church to uproot themselves and move to this land that he had bought in Guyana. I think that's how you say it. He called it Jonestown. So I think that kind of should show very egotistical, very maniacal, honestly. So they moved to this land, and it's supposed to be like this haven for them. But eventually Jim Jones starts to preach against Christianity and basically tries to make his own religion. And I think that's one of the things that really got people. And a group was formed. A group was formed called, like, concerned family members in Jonestown, where either the family members wanted to get out and they couldn't because Jim Jones was controlling them, or they just were so enamored by Jim Jones because he did have followers that really, to the end, were following him. So you either had the one or the other. You had the ones who hated it and wanted to get out, or you had the ones that really followed him and were following him to the end. So eventually the concerned family members got an investigation launched into Jonestown and Jim Jones and the People's Church. And it was, I believe his name was the governor. Leo Bailey, I think was his name, but I could be wrong. His name was Leo. But he went and investigated it, and they actually decided to broadcast it because that's how big this thing was. Like, that's how big they were. Was they decided to actually broadcast this. And you could see the night that he was there, he said it seemed like everybody was happy and they just wanted to be left alone, and it seemed like they had a good life, and he could see that. But later that night, when the cameras were off, they were members of the Jonestown people passing notes to the camera crew and this governor. And they were talking about how horrible it was, and stating that everybody was told by Jim Jones to be on their best behavior for this whole thing. And they were talking about how much they really wanted to get out and they really wanted to go home. And the governor actually confronted Jim Jones with this. And he was like, "What's this about?" And Jim Jones is like, "You know what? I don't know what this is about, but if they want to leave, nothing's stopping them." Jim Jones was very, very crazy in the terms of he really was controlling to his followers, which is something you really see in a cult kind of manner. Which we see in a cult. We see that a lot in cult kind of like things. Like, I mean, look at Scientology. Look at Cruz. But God, I love this product. This is probably the standout brow product I've tried this year, is this e.l.f. brow lift. I love it so much. So much so that I'm going to get the ColourPop Feather Wax Brow thing. I want to try it so bad. I forgot I had this, so I have to incorporate this somehow. You know what? I know how I'm going to do this. I forgot I had pulled this out. This kind of looks like it might be dried out. Or it's super sheer. What do you guys think? So even though this is a super pretty color, at least it's swatched super pretty, I think it's a little dried out, but I'm pretty sure I have it in other products, so I'm just going to go ahead and toss that. But anyways, when the governor found this out and he confronted Jim Jones with it, that is when they decided to leave. And members of Jonestown actually, they took them back to their plane. They escorted them back. And that was when members of Jonestown started opening firing on these people. And this is like, it's so hard because this is so sad. Everyone basically died except for I think one guy. I think all the others died. And that's a lot of weight to carry, honestly. But basically every single one of them died except for one guy, which you can actually check it out. He has an interview where he talks about how he had his arm above his head and his arm had impacted and taken most of the shot because the Jonestown people went back and wanted to make sure they were all dead. So they all got shot. And that is when the FBI, I guess you could say, kind of decided to get involved. I don't know if it was the FBI actually. I'm not gonna say that. So that was when America took notice, and they were like, okay, this is really weird. It's really, really weird. And obviously with them killing the governor, who was just there to investigate, and a TV crew, and they had a survivor, they had a witness. They had to go and arrest Jim Jones. And when they got there is when they stumbled upon a very horrible scene of 909 people had been killed. And you can look it up. It's very horrific and horrible. It's really bad. But they were kind of lined up, which is so weird. Jim Jones had shot himself. Most of them had drank the Kool-Aid, which if you've heard that, that's apparently a term. Drinking the Kool-Aid is actually a term that came as a result of this case, because he put cyanide in the Kool-Aid. And something I found amazing when I was actually researching this case is that he'd actually done this once before, where he told them that he put cyanide in the punch, but he hadn't, and he told them, oh, I was just trying to test your loyalty to see what you guys would do, which, sick. But this time it actually worked, and he had a bunch of people go through with it. I think that there was only 5 survivors that had managed to escape into the jungle. Again, I think Jim Jones had a really good kind of, he had a really good idea with the segregation of race, but the execution was just bad, and as he got more power hungry and more powerful with the more followers he had, is when, you know, things kind of took a turn for the worse. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed talking about Jim Jones and the Jonestown Massacre. And this is a dark part of history, and it sucks, but it is something that I think should be kind of like talked about, because you are doomed to repeat history if you don't know your history, and this is a part of our history. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to end it here. So like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all the social media great stuff, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. I'm going to lay Turd head down, and then I'll be back to film more videos. Bye guys.